Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Can't believe that week has gone so quickly. Seems like the days are just flying by here in November. So hopefully you've had a good week so far and are looking forward to doing something nice this weekend. If that's only just resting at home, that's probably what I'll be up to. I don't think the weather here is that good this weekend. So just chill out at home and take it easy, which sounds pretty good to me. Um, I am sitting in a chair today, so if you can go and collect a chair that you can sit on really comfortably, you want to have a nice 90-degree angle at your ankles and at your knees if you can. That's quite a nice way to just let your feet kind of ground into the floor, let your knees just kind of settle in over your ankles, and then your hips can be nice and easy, which is really the posture that we're looking for anytime you're seated. So if you are working from home, really good to just let your feet rest flat onto the floor rather than doing something funky with your ankles. We talk a lot about how little habits build up into bigger changes, and it goes the same way for unhelpful habits. Like if we're constantly sitting with our legs crossed in some way and we're like leaning over to one side, that's not going to have a very good effect on these structures of the body that keep us nice and tall and upright. So just something to keep in mind. I also have, that we'll be using today, I've got my trusty TheraBand, which is nice and stretchy. But if you don't have a TheraBand, that's fine. You can just use, like, I've got this robe tie that you could use something long-ish like that would work just as well. But whatever you've got, we're going to go ahead and grab that. You're going to start with that. I'm going to use my TheraBand, but you can use whatever you have. If you do have a band like this that's stretchy and quite wide, make sure that you're keeping it wide. You're going to take it back behind you. Keep that wide width as you're wrapping it around your middle. So you don't want it too far down so that it's kind of onto your belly, and you don't want it too far up so it feels like it's kind of coming up near the chest at all. Whenever you found that, you're just going to give it a nice little tie. I like to make it into a little bow so I look like a big birthday present all wrapped up, or Christmas. I guess we're getting closer to Christmas. So once you have yourself all wrapped up with that band nice and wide, or that robe, tie, whatever you have, coming right just in the center of your back. If you take your hands, you can kind of feel where these back ribs are, and that's where we want to feel like that band is kind of covering. Because what this represents is your diaphragm, that muscle that we talk a lot about, which helps you to breathe. And all I want you to do for the first few moments is breathe deeply, just taking a couple of moments to settle in, to arrive, to notice how you're feeling today. To let your thoughts just settle to one side so that you're not thinking about the week that's passed, you're not thinking about the weekend that's coming. You're just really focusing in and bringing your awareness onto how you're feeling in this moment. What are your energy levels like? Just really tuning into all of these little messages that your body sends you all the time, but that we can start to ignore because of all the other thoughts that are coming into the mind. So just notice that. See if you can start to take some deeper breaths into whatever you've got wrapped down around you. So first of all, just breathing into the front of this band that's wrapped around you. Just breathing into the front of the body, trying to take the breath right down into where the bottom of that band is. And then see if you can take your breath into the sides, where the sides of the band are. Big, deep breaths. Not really letting the shoulders get involved. They can be nice and relaxed as you're breathing. And then see if you can take that breath right back into where the band is tied around the back of the body at those lower ribs. This might be a little bit more challenging. We have done some breath work like this in the last 11 days, but it's a little bit different having some feedback from something being tied around you. Really reminding your brain of where these connections of the diaphragm muscle are onto your bony skeleton, onto your rib cage. Remembering that the rib cage isn't this unflexible, hard cage. It's actually really flexible, and it can move, and it can allow for that diaphragm to really have a lovely bit of movement as well. So now breathing into all four sides of your body, into this three-dimensional space that you've created. And I want you to see if you can start to really think about sitting up nice and tall in your chair. So grounding your feet down, letting your legs be heavy, and so that your pelvis can be nice and light, and you can just align your diaphragm and your ribs and your shoulders and your head all on top of this, on the pelvis over the feet. See how tall you can grow here. Take 3 more breaths, these 3 full three-dimensional breaths. Keeping tall, keeping light through the upper body. Really nice. And then you're going to untie your band. Just let it rest over your knees for the moment and take a couple of normal breaths. And just notice maybe there's an increased awareness for you of the whole of where the diaphragm connects. Or maybe it's just that you can have a little fuller, a little deeper breath without having to try as hard as you did when the band was tied around you. And then I just want you to try slumping down and taking your, maybe the breath that you end up with at the end of the week when you've had a stressful, just kind of long few days, and you end up kind of slumping down on the couch or wherever. And just notice that you're not really able to take as full, as deep a breath as you were just a moment ago. Just kind of feel that for yourself when you have a limited space to really take a good couple of breaths. I don't really like being there, hanging out there too much. So come back to really sitting tall again. And just notice, how much more awareness you have of all of your surroundings. Your senses really come alive when you stack yourself up and really make yourself, give yourself room and space to breathe. Okay, so now you're going to take your rope or your band, whatever you have. You're going to measure your shoulders, the space between your 2 shoulders with your hands, and then take your arms out nice and long in front of you. Take a big deep breath in. As you're breathing in, take the arms up and over the head. Just notice what it feels like for the arms to hang out here, and then come back down with your exhalation. Notice for you whether that didn't feel very nice. You can always take your arms a little bit wider on that band. What I don't want to see happening is that your wrists are bending, that your arms are bending at any point when you're taking them up and over the head. So you're welcome to look at your wrists and your arms while they're there. Really make sure they're straight and long as they're coming up and over. Nice big deep breath in. Breathe into that diaphragm, that 3-dimensional space that you've just created as your arms are coming up. This next time as you're exhaling, see if you can take the arms farther back behind you, keeping them straight and long. Maybe they can come all the way down, or that your chair might get in the way like mine has. But as far back and down as you can behind you. I might just sit a little bit farther back on my chair to allow that to happen. Arms come up And then they come all the way behind you. Now, another thing that can happen here, I might just move my chair over so I'm not hitting my plants either, just space that very well. Another thing that can happen when the arms are coming up and they're coming back, we can have a tendency to send our ribs forward. So I want you to imagine that you're still breathing deeply into the band that's at the back of the body. So breathe into those ribs, let them draw back and behind you as your arms are coming up and over. See if that just helps you to keep those ribs from jutting forward as your arms are moving like this. We're just going to do that twice more. Nice big deep breath in, arms nice and long, reaching with those fingers. I like to keep them straight and just allow the band to rest between my thumb and my first finger. Last time, just see how that's going for you. Good, and then just rest the arms, give the shoulders a little shake, maybe have a little look from side to side. All right, arms nice and long. Again, we're going to take the arms up and over the head, and this time we're going to keep them slightly forward in front of the face. And as you're exhaling, see if you can allow your elbows to widen as you're pulling your arms down and then reach up again. Nice big deep breath. Exhaling to pull those down. Make sure your ribs aren't jutting forward. You're still breathing into the ribs at the back of the body. Imagining that band is still behind you and you can breathe into it. I'm going to do 3 more of those. Last 2 to go. Last 1. Really nice. And then just rest that down again. Give the shoulders a little shake. Have a little look from side to side. Really nice. Okay, last thing we're going to do here, and hopefully you're not too tired with the arms up and over the head. You can always do this one with just having your arms crossed over, and if that feels too much to bring your arms back up. Once again, we'll take the arms all the way up to the ceiling. I want you to now, again, bring your attention back to where your band was tied around your body. You're going to take a deep breath in and you're going to turn from that space. So the lower ribs are going to turn you right around, and then you're going to exhale back to center. And then you're going to inhale to turn the other direction, and then exhale back to center. Do that one more time. And then rest your arms down and just take your hands onto your shoulders for a moment. We're going to see how it's quite different to move from different parts of your body with this rotation. So if we were to just take the shoulders around, I want you to just notice that maybe you don't really get that far into your rotation. If you were just to kind of lead with your shoulders, you probably don't. I mean, I'm finding for myself that I definitely don't get that much movement going from side to side. And then if you were to think about just taking your head, I mean, that's quite different again. Oh, my head goes pretty far around, but notice that my body isn't really moving. It's just my head, because we have quite a lot of movement at the neck and the head. And then come back to this idea of that band being tied around. Keep your knees and your hips facing forward, feet firmly rooted. And we're going to turn from those lower ribs first. And then think about turning your shoulders. And then think about turning your head. Your left hand might end up on your knee. Hopefully turn to the right side. And just notice now how much farther around you can come. And then come back to center. So we're moving from those lower ribs first, then the shoulders, then the gaze. Maybe your right hand comes onto your left knee, and you can just get that little bit more movement around, keeping the height of the spine the whole time. Let's do that one more time to each side. Lower ribs, then the shoulders, then the gaze. Nice little rotation, and back, and then around to the other side. And then back. Really, really nice. Okay. So from here, going to take one arm up towards the ceiling. Nice big reach through that side. Let's go start with the right side. Place your hand onto the chair behind you so that it kind of gets out of the way and provides a little bit of stability for you here. I'm going to start to reach that arm up towards the ceiling and come over to the side. Nice big deep breath into that right side of the body, keeping your head back in line. The rest of the spine, making sure this shoulder is really staying open and that you're not kind of collapsing into it or rolling forward. Nice big deep breath in. And then exhale, slowly lowering that arm down and lifting up through the other side. So really lifting that hand. It's like someone's pulling you up towards the ceiling, and then you can just start a little lean over to the side to really open through the side of the body. Let's do that one more time, each direction. Nice big deep breath. And again, here, so we did this the other day, you can just add in a little bit of movement. So maybe some rotation forward, maybe some rotation back, just doing what feels good for you here, getting that rib cage to move, getting the diaphragm just to slip and slide around the tops of the organs. Coming back to center, same thing to the other side. And just breathing. Beautiful. And then coming back. Okay, we're going to get the chair out of the way. I'm just going to fold it and put it over here. And then come to your mat space. I'm just going to lower you down so you can see my mat space. I'm going to start at the end of the mat and just have a little roll down, a little wriggle. Bending the knees if you need to, giving yourself a little shake, maybe shaking out the head, and then rolling all the way back up. So we're just checking in on how the spine feels this morning. We'll do a few roll downs just to loosen everything up, get that spine warmed up, get you really feeling good for your Friday. Let's do that one more time. We'll take our time this time. So stand up nice and tall, first of all. Going to start to let the chin tuck towards the chest. The shoulders and the arms be really heavy. And that's just what takes you rolling down towards your feet. Come to that point where maybe you need a little micro bend through the knees or more. That's absolutely fine. And then you are going to bend your knees enough so that you can start to walk your hands out along the mat. Once you end up there, you're going to spread your hands out wide, and you're going to take a big deep breath in so you can hang your belly down towards the floor and let your gaze just lift up. Exhale, drop your tail down, let your upper back really stretch up towards the ceiling. And then deep breath in takes you back into the opposite direction. Just going to do that a few times. Again, just warming up the spine a little bit more. If you want to have some movement around here, it can feel quite nice to kind of circle around the wrists as you're moving your spine. Sometimes I like to lean into one space and really get the feeling that I'm lubricating my wrists and my knee joints, my hip joints, really waking everything up. Just taking a couple more breaths, doing this. Hopefully that's feeling really nice. Just staying where, you're not having any pain or real discomfort with this. Moving in a way that feels nourishing and good for your body. And then sit back for a moment. Really stretch through those armpits and feel them opening up. And then exhale, come forward. You're going to tuck your toes. And you're going to imagine that you're pushing the ceiling away with the whole of the back of your body. See if you can tuck your toes. And now just lift your knees away from the floor a couple of centimeters. And take 3 big deep breaths here. Imagine that you're breathing into that band that's tied around the back of you. Lower the knees. Untuck the toes, have a little sit back onto your heels. Give yourself a nice little break here. Maybe having a little rock side to side just to really juice up those hip joints once more. And then we're going to come back forward. Tuck the toes, lift the knees, take 3 big breaths. Really be pressing the outer edges of your palms into the mat the whole time. Lower the knees, sit back for a moment. And then bring yourself forward, tuck those toes, lift through the knees. This time we're going to see if we can come all the way up and back into inverted V position. We're just going to walk out the legs here, the feet. Give them a little pat out so you can really feel like you're stretching through the hamstrings, waking them up. Giving your arms a good old stretch here too as they're supporting your upper body in this position. And then straighten out both legs, tuck your knees, and just rest back into your child's pose once more. Maybe you want to wrap your arms around so that you end up like a real shell shape. And just rest your forehead onto the ground and take a couple of deep breaths here. Then slowly come back up from that position, and we'll come now to just settle comfortably onto the floor. I'm going to grab my cushions so that I can make myself as comfortable as possible in this seated position. So grab whatever you need. Maybe you want a little blanket to wrap around you. Sometimes that can be nice to keep you just comfortable and warm in this little space that you're creating for yourself. This little carved out bit of time where you can really spend just setting all thoughts now, no movement involved, no kind of really thinking about what we're doing with our body. You can just sit and breathe and have a little holiday from your thinking for a moment. So once you've made yourself comfortable, just begin to close the eyes. We're going to bring the attention and the awareness to the crown of the head to do our body scan. So really being aware, first of all, to your surroundings. Notice any noises around you. Might be some distracting noises going on throughout your house, wherever you are. Just notice them, take note of them. Maybe noticing if there is any sort of resistance or annoyance there, putting that to one side for a moment and just noticing the temperature around you. Any other things that you pick up on, just taking note. And then drawing that awareness in to the crown of the head. Noticing the same sensations of warmth or cold there. Notice if the crown of the head feels heavy in any parts or light. Maybe it's a bit lighter through the back of the head than the front. Just being aware of that. Noticing any changes in sensation as you scan down through the front of the face, past the eyes, the nose and the mouth. Scanning past both sides of the head, past the ears. Noticing any sensations of warmth, of coolness, of heaviness, of lightness as you scan through the back of the head. The back of the neck, the front of the neck, through both shoulders, both arms, both elbows, both forearms, and both hands. Maybe there's a tingling, maybe there's another feeling that you would describe differently. Different sensation. Just notice how those sensations change as you scan down through the front of your chest, the abdomen, and the belly. Scanning back up through the spinal column, just checking in, noticing any sensations. And then scanning down through the upper back, the mid back, the lower back, through the buttocks onto the floor, and then through the thighs and the knees, the lower legs, and the feet. And then just bringing the awareness back to the breath. We're going to spend 5 minutes in silence. You can use that 5 minutes to count your breath if that's helpful, from 1 to 10, and then starting back over at 1 again. Or just really seeing if you can keep drawing that awareness back to your breath. We'll start that 5 minutes of silence now. And just bringing your awareness gently back into the space around you, keeping your eyes closed for a moment. Bring your awareness back to any sounds around you, the temperature and the texture, the air around you. Taking a big, deep breath in, exhaling, sighing that air out, and then opening the eyes. Thanks for joining me again today. I will be here again tomorrow, 7:30, even though it's the weekend. I'll still be getting up early, so hopefully I'll see you again tomorrow. In the meantime, just be thinking about that kind of idea of sitting up, creating really good habits. This is the foundation of my 10-week course, is building up really healthy, good habits so that you can start to see the bigger changes that can happen stemming from these small little things that kind of create this ripple effect. So like after you throw a pebble into a pond, it just creates these bigger and bigger circles in that space. So I will see you soon. Have a wonderful day, and I'll see you